Thanks for the opportunity to continue Spurs Voices. As we commence Hispanic Heritage Month, this is another opportunity for everybody in our organization to use that platform to talk about how we come as our authentic selves to work. When we talk about Latinos, Hispanics, it's interesting. You know, everybody's got a different perspective and a different place in time. I think what's unique for my family and my upbringing, being raised here in San Antonio, my family comes from two different areas. One from Guanajuato through North Texas, and the other from West Texas. As they were growing up, my mother particularly, went to San Antonio schools. At that time, they were all prohibited and barred from speaking Spanish. That was their first language, and they were being educated as young children, and she comes from a very large family. My father was literally, his family they were picking cotton, right? That was their job, and that's what they did. And their father would go back and forth. And so half of my dad's family, all born in Mexico, the other half, maybe one or two, the younger ones were born here. And so they were very connected to the Mexican side of the family. And it wasn't until my father and his two brothers, and two of which were, born in Mexico, were in the Army and Navy respectively. So all three of them ended up in World War II, and that was their path, right, to education, going to technical high schools, because that's where the Latinos would go, right? They could only be welders or plumbers. So that's where the Perez side went and graduated from high school. And, they never became welders or plumbers because they went to the Army. It's interesting that the paths that those before us, the things that they've had to go through to provide opportunity for us. I think our country can be a challenging place for those people with, brown skin, and, learning to figure out how you can be accepted without judgment, without fear of being rejected, is a process. Yeah, I think the struggle with different generations, and it's not a struggle, but it's what we all try to do, right? We all try to execute where we are, progress at where we are, and sometimes, we forget about, where we have been, right? And so it's just trying to recognize that. And so I think recognizing, these cultural moments, during our year, and if we can all reflect back, whether we're celebrating the right for women to vote, or we're celebrating Lyndon B. Johnson signing the declaration that said, hey, we're going to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, are certainly key and important. If we think of our trials that we've had for immigration in our country, and even more highlighted in the current state, building walls adjacent to the communities where your family is from is devastating. More devastating are watching families get broken up because of their documentation status, and some that undeservedly so, when they're absolutely entitled and allowed to be here. And that is tearing apart families, tearing apart the core of people is never the right way. And so raising Latino children and having them understand what's happening, and having them understand how it impacts people and lives and families, I think is part of our role as parents. As I watch my children grow up, who are young adults and going through their college years, I'm hopeful, and I am hopeful of what has happened in our country. And I think that those views still exist, and they're still prevalent. But I am hopeful that there is continued progress from when I was their age, and I know that there's progress from when my parents were their age. Hi, I'm Bobby Perez. I've been with Spurs Sports Entertainment for 7 years.